Hey guys, and welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today I am talking all about roommates and how most schools do roommate selections and what my experience was with my roommate and my roommate selection and all of that. So, if you're new here, I'd love if you could check out my other videos, but if you haven't yet, my name is Beth. I am a college sophomore, or going to be a college sophomore. I'm going back to school in about 3 weeks now, and I'll be starting training because I'll be an RA, which is like a kind of like just someone who's there for you if you have any questions or like there's a problem that comes up. Just throughout the school year, just someone to support you in your dorm hall. So I'm kind of like in charge of the hall that you're living in, like that hallway. Also, sorry for not posting a video last week because it was crazy. I've been kind of everywhere, traveling a lot more than expected to be, more just for like long weekends though, so it's been like I'm home, I'm not, I'm home, I'm not, and when I'm home, I'm working, so it's been kind of crazy. I kind of expected this to happen, but I'm glad. This is only the second time I haven't been able to post, and the first time was just because I was sick, so it doesn't count. Okay, now that I've blabbed on for 4 minutes long, I'm so sorry. Let's go on to the video. Here we go. Okay, so there's a couple different like subtopics I'm going to talk about within this video. Okay, so basically let's start with just how do colleges do a roommate selection? How does that work? How do I apply? So for my school, I know a lot of different schools, when you apply to housing, you do this little like survey kind of thing. So you usually will write a little bio about yourself. That'll be like where you're from, what you want to major in, things you like your hobbies, maybe some stuff you were involved in high school, what you're looking forward to, or what you look for in a roommate. So for me, I mentioned where I was from, my major. I mentioned that I played volleyball and I love to dance. And then I also mentioned that I like my room to be clean and just little things like that. For me, having a clean dorm was important, so I made sure to put that in there. There's also this other little survey thing you do in addition to your bio, but that was important to me, so I made sure to put that little detail in there. So then when I was looking around and someone was like, I'm very clean, I'm very neat, I was like, okay, that's good to know. It's just one of those things that's nice to know. That's a hard, being neat. If you're stuck with someone who's very messy, that can be really stressful for you, so don't take that for granted. It kind of sounds like a silly, you're being petty, that you want your room to be clean, but when you're living with someone who you maybe have never met before school started in a new environment, that's the little things kind of add up, and that's important. Okay, so then after you do a little bio, you're probably going to do the survey, which is basically talking about when do you go to bed, when do you wake up, when you're studying, do you like to study with music or the TV on, do you want to study in the room or do you want to study in the library, do you plan to use your room for studying or socializing or just sleeping, so there'll just be different questions like that. Do you like to have your room picked up or do you not really care, just things like that. Just so that when you're looking for roommates, you can be okay, so they, we go to bed around the same time, we wake up around the same time, we're both neat, we both, listen to music while we study, so stuff like that. It just helps you to, be okay, yes, I can live with this person, or no, I don't think it's gonna work. This is helpful for you and for your school, so there's a couple different ways you can do roommates. Either you know that person already, so you're like, you know what, hey, we went to high school together, we're really good friends, we're going to the same school, let's room together. Why not? Some people that works out great. Other people, they need to branch out more than just people, they want to meet new people because they're at a new place, which is completely fine, and honestly, I kind of recommend that. You can still be friends with your high school friend, but you don't necessarily have to live with them. Otherwise, that's the fastest way you're going to make friends is, your first friends, even if they last or not, are going to be the people in your dorm because you're living with them. So you can do that, or maybe you met someone, or your friend knows someone who's going to that school and you met them in person and you became friends, same kind of thing. I'm flipping my hair on accident. Or, like, you might do, like, you don't know anyone going into school, you might choose to do a random roommate selection, which is what I planned to do. It wasn't what I ended up doing, but it's what I planned to do because I didn't know anyone at the school. And I was like, you know what, I think it'll be fine. Because what they do is they take that survey and they match you with someone with a similar like score. And so that way, they're not putting you with like someone who has a complete opposite like schedule as you. It's someone who has a similar like routine. So, you know, it might not be a perfect fit, but it's going to be better than, you know, someone that might go to bed at 1 when you go to bed at 10 kind of thing. And of course those aren't like perfect sciences, but it's nice to do that because then you can kind of gauge if you and that person will work well together or like be able to live well together. Then there's another thing where it's like usually once you put in this profile and fill out your application, you should be able to, depending on your school, at my school we could, be able to look on the housing portal and see different like people's profiles. So you could go through it and you can like read different people's bios and like send them messages. You're like, hey, I read your profile, like I think we would get along really well. Do you want to consider being roommates? Like get to know each other better and like consider being roommates. And I did that with a couple people. Some of them didn't work out, some of them, and like that's okay. But it was good just to like get to talk to people and just see like that could be a great way to find someone is through that portal. And like a way you can like kind of be like, is this person good for me? Just say like kind of look for, oh, they're the same major because then we'll be in similar classes, or oh, we're from the same hometown, or oh, we have the same interests, stuff like that will kind of pull you to someone who you'll get along with. And again, it's not a perfect science, so you might realize, like, you might be like, yes, let's be roommates, but you get there and like a month in, you both like hate each other. There are systems in place in order to allow you to switch roommates, especially as a freshman if you did random selection, because it's not a perfect science. So if that happens to you, that's okay. A lot of people go in thinking they're going to be BFFs with their roommate your freshman year, and a lot of times that doesn't happen. If it happens, that's great, that's awesome, but it's not always going to happen. And if that's the case where you don't feel comfortable living in your dorm or you can't do it, talk to your RA, that's what we're there for. So, not trying to toot our own horn over here, but it is what the RA is there for, and you don't have to live with that problem. You can go to your RA and at least talk about it and see if you can resolve it, and maybe it'll improve the situation, or if it's bad enough, we can move you out of your dorm. At least this is at my institution. It's at a lot of institutions as well, but take this with a grain of salt. It can be different per every institution, every college and university. So yeah, you can do random, and then like my school, we had a Facebook group for the whole graduating class of my class. So my class was graduation year of 2022, and so it's class of 2022 on the Facebook group is what it's called, and it's everyone who is in that class. You can go and join that in that graduating class. So I joined that, and I was going to do random selection, but I wanted to be in a ASL Spark. So Spark at my school is a living learning community kind of thing. So it stands for something, but I don't know. But basically it's where it's a common interest within a hall. And if your school has these and it's something that you're interested in, I suggest doing it. So mine was for ASL. Because I already learned ASL, I wanted to continue keeping up my skills in college because it applies to what I'm doing for my job, and I know I won't be taking ASL classes in college for another year or two now. So living in that Spark allowed me to sign with other people on a regular basis, not to mention it was just cool that I was around other people that knew sign language, because here at home, not very many people I know it. So, with all that being said, I went on a Facebook group and I said, hey, I really want to live in the Spark. I haven't been able to find anyone to be my roommate. The ASL Spark, sorry, let me clarify. I haven't found anyone to be my roommate. Is anyone on here looking for a roommate and wants to live in this ASL Spark? And that's how I ended up finding my roommate, and we got along pretty well throughout the school year. We weren't BFFs or, we weren't perfect for each other, but it wasn't anything bad. Like, I wouldn't change my roommate situation from last year. It was a semi-suite, so it was like 2 bedrooms and a shared bathroom space. And so it wasn't anything like crazy, but it wasn't like anything, it wasn't like butterflies and rainbows either. So it wasn't perfect, but again, it wasn't bad enough to where I would have wished to change that school year in my roommate situation. And we got along fine. We just weren't BFFs. So, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be. And we realized that, and we got along plenty, and it was fine, and we had a good time in school, but we're not going to be best friends for life and be in each other's weddings. It just wasn't that kind of relationship, and that's okay. Not all of your relationships are going to be like that. But, so that's another way to do it, is if your school has a Facebook group, you can go and talk on that, or, like, just, like, talk to people and be like, hey, who's, like, just talk to people. So if your school has that Facebook group, and a lot of schools do, that's a good place to go, like, hey, is anyone looking for a roommate? Like, I want to live in this hall, or I want to live in this learning community, stuff like that. Or, I'm part of ROTC. I would like to be with someone else who's part of ROTC, kind of thing. But going back to my living learning community really quick, our school is really cool because it has living learning communities for ASL, one for sophomores, but it's like, that one's really specific, and then like an ROTC one, and then a lot of sports live together. Oh, and there's a sorority one, so freshman girls who are planning on rushing can all be in this living learning community, because then they're all going through the same rushing and being a first year in a sorority kind of situation. So that's really cool. Also, we don't have fraternity and sorority houses at our school except for one fraternity house. So yeah. Anyway, that's just a little tidbit on that. If your school has those, I definitely recommend looking into them, because it's a great way to build a community at your school and get to know people that have similar interests to you. So it's really cool. So if you guys have any questions about roommates and the roommate process, or the process that I went through, feel free to leave comments below. I'd love to see you guys' comments. It makes me so happy. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out my other videos, and I will see you next week for a new one. Bye.